Good morning, YouTube, and today we have for you a Gogogo deck profile. That's right, you heard it here. This is not a Pokemon Go deck profile. This is a Gogogo deck profile, an older archetype kind of that came from Zexal. It's a rank 4 spam, of course, like most of the protagonist decks or archetypes are, but they brought in upon this, and I've kind of come up with an interesting little build that you can take some from what you wish, and let's hop right into it. Let's talk. Starting off, we have our power card. This is what you want to start your plays. Of course, you need cards in graveyard to set up, which there's a lot of stuff that does, but what Gogogo Giant does is when he's normal summoned, you can target Gogogo in your graveyard, special summon that target defense position. If he attacks, it switches to defense position, but the most important thing is bringing the monster back from your graveyard. This allows you to exceeds, link. It just allows you, this is your play starter, and you really want to see it, at least, if not in your opening hand, pretty soon. Next, run a playset of Gogogo Gigas. If he's in your graveyard when a Gogogo is special summoned, you can special summon him. And it just gives you an extra possibility for another link material or an Xyz material. It's just fantastic. And he has a big booty anyway, 2200 defense, nothing to complain about at all. These all have pretty decent stats. Next, we play a playset of Gogogo Goram. This literary slur is Goram is pretty cool. His 2300 attack, when he's summoned, you switch to battle position, and if he's sent to the graveyard, you can send a Gogogo from your deck to the graveyard. This includes your Gigas, your Golem, which will come into play here after a little bit. Really, he's just a big beater that helps you set up for future plays, which is what a lot of this deck does, is just set up. Next, we want a playset of Gogogo Aristeria and Dexia. I definitely mispronounced that, so my apologies there. While another Gogogo monster in the field, your opponent cannot target Gogo monsters for an attack, and they cannot attack for them with card effects. So really, it's going to help you stall, set up your plays. 2200 defense, nothing to complain about if that's your first play. And if it's used in an Xyz material for an Xyz summon, you can target one face-up attack position your opponent controls a Swiss battle position. Yes, it sounds as effective with links being a thing, but it's still a decent card that I like to run at 3 because it gives you a little bit of protection in this deck. Next, we run 2 Gogogo Golem Golden Form. This is kind of a lightness darkness dragon, but a little bit weaker. You have to special summon from your hand by tributing a Gogogo monster, and then his attack becomes double. So it's pretty darn great if you have like a Gogogo Giant or a Gogogo Goram. He's going to get a decent amount of attack. Then mandatorily, if your opponent activates a monster effect, it has to negate that effect, doesn't destroy it, and then it loses 1500 attack. So it's not the best card, but it's definitely a little bit nice in terms of making your opponent have to slow down and think through their plays. So I run it as 2 because it's a nice card. Next, we run 2 of the OG Gogogo Golem. This is the first card in the archetype, and it actually has a lot of plays because there's some cards that require it specifically. He can't be destroyed once per turn in defense position, so it's a decent card to stall anyway. So we run it as 2. Next, we run 2 Gogogo Ghost. When he is special summoned, you can target a Gogogo Golem in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, and then change it to defense position. So again, it's more of a play starter anyway, but it's 1900 attack, which isn't anything to complain about. It's a 4-star monster. This is, of course, the one that's not a rock or an earth monster, so it gives you a little bit of, loses a little bit of versatility there, but still cool and gives you some awesome play possibilities. Next, we run 2 Dododo Buster. This is going to come into play here after a little bit. I'll explain a little bit more, but he acts as a Cyber Dragon in hand. When your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon him, and it becomes a level 4 monster. So that gives you a lot of possibilities of the fact that he's Earth and he's level 4, special summonable. It's definitely an all-around great card. A little bit of synergy with that is a playset of Block Dragon. This is a card that, of course, can help you set up, survive, Block Dragon has always been fantastic in Earth decks, underrated card that people forget about and then they lose to it. So I run it as a playset, pretty cool. Next, run a playset of Gogogo Talisman. Now, this is definitely a weird choice. I'm not sure if I'd recommend it, but it's come in handy pretty decently for me. While you control 2 or more Gogogo monsters, you take no effect damage. Once per turn, when the attack is declared involving a Gogo monster you control, one way or another, you can activate the effect. That monster cannot be destroyed by that battle. So it gives you a little bit of extra survivability, and so I play as a playset to see it a little bit sooner. That's really the only reason. Next, we run a playset of Onomatopoeia. I mispronounced it, onomatopoeia, but this is the reason I run Dodo Buster. You can only activate it once per turn. Summon one card from your hand to the graveyard and add up to 2 of the following monsters from your deck to your hand. But you can't add 2 from the same archetype. It's Zubaba, Gogogo, Gogogo, or Dododo. So that's the reason I run the 2 Dodo Busters, is because it gives you some nice little plays you can do on your first turn. Plus, you could possibly not run those and just add 1 card, but then it's more of a minus than what it is in this instance. So I play it as a playset just so you can get those possible setting up your graveyards and adding 2 cards from like a Gogo Giant and a Dodo Buster to help you set up for some pretty nice plays your first turn even. Next, run a playset of Pod Desires just to see your play stars a little bit quicker. Always been a great card. Next, run 2 Catapult Zone. This is help set up your graveyard. You don't necessarily need to play it as a playset because you run 2 terraforming to go along with it. When a monster would be destroyed by battle, you can send a rock monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. This is once per turn, of course. This allows you to set up your graveyard, gives you the extra protection that you need. Just an all-around fantastic card. Next, run a Monster Reborn. A Soul Charge, because again, this deck can spam a lot and Xyz and Synchro, so you want to run these, and your graveyard is always going to be having cards in it. Next, run a Riesling. This is a bit of an interesting choice. Your opponent will definitely know to call for, because that's really all of your monsters that can be special summoned by any means. Except for Dodo Buster, I guess, because Block Dragon can't be special summoned by other ways. But it helps you set up your graveyard, and that's really something that's not bad, and especially because you're going to be, most of the time when you're playing it up against your opponent, they're not going to know what you're playing first off, so they're going to blind call whatever. So it's just an interesting card. I've tested and have a decent amount of success with it. Foolish Burial, of course, setting up your graveyard essential, so we run it at 1. A Solemn Warning and a Solemn Judgment, just of 2 one-off traps. Just kind of nice. Always great to have some nice stun cards, so we run those too. Moving on to our extract, we run 2 number 55, Gogogo Goliath. This isn't, of course, an essential card to run this deck. I just kind of run it because it's a namesake for the deck, and it's fun and a cool-looking card, and actually not too bad. All monsters you control gain 800 defense, so naturally he's a 2,000 defense monster. You can attach an Xyz material, then target a level 4 Earth Rock type monster in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. So the nice thing you can do with him is it gives you the possibility to detach a giant, target another, or if you have a target in your graveyard initially, of course, you can detach it, giant, bring it back to your hand, then you can normal summon giant, go for another Gogogo Goliath if you're trying to stall and go for some extra plays later on. It's an all-around great card, gives you a little bit of recoverability. So we run 2 of those. Next we run the full Utopia the Lightning build right here, just because going for damage, you know, you just need as much as possible. Always a great card. Generic rank 4. Rounding up our monsters, we run our Xyz, of course. We run a lot of just staple 4s. Tornado Dragon 52 because he's a rock and an earth monster, so we run it for that synergy effect. Heartland Draco because you have enough face-up cards that you can bring out to go for that damage. A Baguska, a number 101, a Castell, and that's going to round up our Xyz portion. Some decent rank 4s. Moving on to our links, we have 2 Mrs. Radiant. Of course, easy to go into. The same concept goes. If you want to go use your giant, then they'll pop Mrs. Radiant, add giant back to your hand. Gives you a little bit of extra attack. Fantastic link to a monster for any Earth deck. Next run, Deco Talker. Really just one of the best, if not the best, generic Link 3 monsters that you can find out there. until they release something a little bit better, he's just going to be a nice little staple. Gives you protection, has an attack boost, decent stats. So you just kind of run him in there just for that sake. And then we run a Saryuja because it is possible to go into it. I know there's so many gimmicky things that you can do with Saryuja in any deck, and I'm not going to go into the possibilities, but it's just a nice card to run, so we do. And that's going to wrap up my Gogogo deck profile. It's definitely a really fun deck that has some interesting untapped potential that has gained a little bit of power over time for some strange, weird reason. That's, if anything, if you don't get anything from this profile, leave a comment for somebody else who's watching this video down in the comment section below, because there's not a lot of these profiles online. So you know, it's nice to have at least one place where you can look and gather something and put it together and make it your own. And that's why I really build any of these decks for, is just to give you a few ideas that I have, so you can leave comments for other people to give. But above all, thank you for watching and have a great day.